Welcome back to KUJH News. I'm Thomas Hoppo. If you're just tuning in with us, the KU Student Senate election polls, voting polls, have just closed, and there's a strange twist because the results were supposed to be released at 5 o'clock, but it's been postponed to 9 o'clock tonight, pending an appeal with the Jayhawkers. I am here now with Mackenzie Oatman, Jayhawkers presidential candidate. So, Mackenzie, let's just get straight down to it. Tuesday night, the Elections Commission released its decision disqualifying Jayhawkers and all its candidates from the election. What went through your mind when you heard this decision?
You know, I thought our campaign manager pulled me aside and told me, and I was more shocked than anything, just because disqualifying every single person in a coalition is something that not only has never been done at KU before, but not even on a nationwide student government point of view. It is unheard of, and it makes me so angry that they would disqualify every person, and especially over these allegations.
So the commission found that Jayhawkers violated a rule that bans coalitions from purchasing food for the purpose of campaigning, and failure to report this on your weekly financial report.
Yes.
Did Jayhawkers violate this rule?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We had a meeting with some of our leadership. At that meeting, the person who put it on had originally asked me, hey, can we cater Chipotle for all these people? And we were like, oh my gosh, no, we cannot. And so instead, what we did was we bought Chipotle, we brought it there, and then they were able to purchase it from us. And that's it. It was a leadership meeting, and the thing that really shocks me about this is that 2 violations for the same thing were filed against Grow KU, and they were found not guilty.
In their complaint, Grow KU included photos from Jayhawkers' Twitter page from the meeting. They allege the photo shows food and drink that was served at a campaign event that Jayhawkers did not file in their financial report. Could you explain these photos?
Absolutely. So first of all, it wasn't a campaign event, and I think that'll be kind of the main argument moving forward, is it was a leadership meeting. It was not a campaign event. But we wouldn't have tweeted out a photo, incriminating ourselves if we thought that we were going to, you know what I mean? If we were trying to break the rules, we probably would have done it a lot sneakier. But it absolutely, the photo, it does show some drinks on the side of it. Those were left over from a recruitment event that was held earlier at the fraternity. The president of that fraternity was there to testify on our behalf, explaining all of that, but unfortunately, due to the Election Commission only having 15 minutes to hear someone's case, they did not get to hear his testimony and refused to hear it.
Do you guys think that the early announcement of all this affected the voting?
You know, I do. I do think it kind of discouraged some people, and there was some misinformation going around, not only from kind of like the Elections Commission, but also Grow KU was posting that we were disqualified, and the only reason we were on the ballot was due to an IT error, which is false. IT could have taken us the ballot that night. We're on the ballot because we were pursuing appeal options. But I do think it affected the voting a little bit, but I know a lot of students who this rallied them up. A lot of students were like, I can't believe that they did this to you guys. You have my full support.
Okay, well, let's go back to what you said, that you guys alleged that Grow KU did the exact same thing.
Yes.
Okay, why did you guys bring up these allegations?
Absolutely. So at one of their meetings, an open meeting that they had, they advertised that there was going to be free cappuccinos there. And this was an open meeting, open to anyone in the public, whereas ours was not. And they said that free cappuccinos on the event description page. And so that was one of the violations. The other one was we have someone that was previously on Grow KU that is now on Jayhawkers, and the vice presidential candidate during the debate actually said, one time we had a meeting, we provided food, everyone was sitting there eating, and so not only did she say that during the debates, that was on TV, you guys covered it, but we also had someone there to vouch for that. And again, nothing happened.
Okay, yeah, you guys had somebody there to vouch for that, but do you guys have solid evidence? What evidence do you guys have? Like Grow KU had pictures from Twitter. Do you guys have any hard evidence like that?
Right, so the vice presidential candidate said it herself during the debate, which I think is huge. She said that they had food there, you know what I mean, and that everyone was eating like a little sandwich tray that she had bought or something like that. So she not only said that herself, But we have, a witness there. But yeah, that was our evidence against it. And then for the cappuccinos that they served at their coalition meeting, they posted that on their event, which I would say is, pretty conclusive.
Do you guys think, or do you think personally, the integrity of the results is impacted by the decision? The integrity of the voting results?
Is impacted by the violations? Or
Yes.
I would say that, I think this is a big thing for students. It's obviously very unfair to have Jayhawkers disqualified in the election on the front page of, the UDK on the first day of voting. But we did everything we could to make sure that people knew what was going on, what our side of the story was. And so, I believe in the system, I believe in voting and, talking to people. And so while I do think the integrity was compromised a little bit, this has been a crazy election year. Like, making that decision the night before is pretty unheard of. And so, yeah, actually, I do think the integrity of the results has been compromised through all of this.
Okay, let's look forward. Let's look forward to this. After the appeal, whatever the results may be, whether you guys are able to stay, whether you guys are able to not stay, do you guys think that students and everybody should be able to re-vote after this?
So we plan on taking this to the University Judicial Board, bottom line. Regardless of what happens with the Court of Appeals tonight, we will be taking this to the University Judicial Board. We will be exhausting every single appeal option. I think that, students' voices are the most important thing. And that if students chose a winner and that person doesn't get in based off of, and knowing the violation, if that person, is disqualified, I think that's insane. And I think instead of having a revote, that everyone should just look at what has happened. And, I think this election ultimately comes down to students, and I trust students to make the appropriate decision, and we should listen to them.
So tonight at 9 p.m., the Court of Appeals will hear your guys' case. What do you hope will come out of this case? What do you hope to accomplish, and what do you hope comes from the appeals process?
Absolutely. Well, I hope that they see the truth. I hope that they see that, we're not guilty of this violation, and if they're trying to say that we are, then GrowKU would be in violation of the same exact thing. And so I'm just really hoping for a fair result tonight. But honestly, I don't feel confident at this point with them pulling the announcement of the elections and circumventing democracy, circumventing, everyone's right to know what the announcements are before going into this Court of Appeals hearing. I don't have confidence that they're going to come out and evaluate this in a fair way. I think that we're absolutely taking this to the University Judicial Board, so.
Why did the Elections Commission, in your opinion, why do you think the Elections Commission triggered this decision so quickly if it wasn't in violation? And
you know what? I think they were trying to make an example out of us, one. And two, there have been a lot of internal Senate politics that were promised to not happen ever again that have been happening. And, GrowKU as well as other coalitions have filed like 18 different violations against us. And I think they're just trying to look for some way to disqualify us. And that's kind of been the vibe that we've gotten in the last 2 weeks, is they're just looking for anything they can find to make sure that they can disqualify us, because they're not competing with us on a level of talking to students. They're taking the route of, let's see, if they messed up on any little thing.
What is going to happen next? What happens if the Court of Appeals does not reverse the Election Commission's decisions? What will Jayhawkers do next?
We will immediately be filing with the University Judicial Board to get an appeal, and we're going to take it to them. We are going to exhaust all of our appeal options, because we feel that this is so extremely unfair, and that this has been politicized in so many ways. This has been influenced by internal Senate politics. And being on Student Senate for the past 3 years, I've seen this happen before. The people who are in office right now promised that these kind of politics would not come into play. And so we are going to do everything as the Jayhawkers, everything we can to make sure that students' voices are heard in this election. It stinks what happened, with the front cover of the UDK on Wednesday, but we're just going to make sure that we're advocating for students and that justice is found in this case.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. Thank you, Mackenzie, for joining us today. We will be back later on. That's all for the election update. Join us again at 5 p.m. as we await the results.